much as I'd like to talk about Angel Reese and so forth, Pete, with some of those funny videos, she finally, on the 8th game of the year, finally made her first shot because those guys had made over $1 million betting on her missing her first shot. And in the first 7 games, they were right. Well, she finally made her first shot. It was a breakaway, and she laid it up off the glass, and it actually went in, which is very rare for her because just the other day, she only scored, I think it was either 2 or 4 points, Pete.
I think it was 4.
And she had a bunch of me bounds, which are rebounds of her own shots. The league refers to those as me bounds. Anyway, let's dive into your sports, Pete, without any more Angel Reese talk.
All right, well,
she's in the news a lot.
We will speak about the NBA, though, so we're sticking with basketball as that lead-in comes in there. So year over year, John, you start looking at these numbers, right? And you try to figure out what's accurate, what's not. You know, they talked about in the NBA that, wow, our ratings are really looking pretty good. Well, if you dig down into it, John, that's actually probably not true. And by the way, the NBA ratings are down 48% over the last 12 years, just to give you a little perspective of how bad things have gone. And I put it right on, and I'm on them all the time. I don't understand. If I'm an owner of a team in the NBA right now, if I'm Cuban or somebody, don't I want to go to them and go, hey, man, what are you doing so wrong that this league has turned to crap? And it really has turned to crap. I mean, when you look around and you look at what his solving thing is, John, he paints the floors. He doesn't do it himself, but he has these guys painting the floors, all these ridiculous colors and everything else, just to kind of change it up a little bit, rather than saying, hey, look, guys, this different managements of your body and everything else that you're doing is kind of killing the game. We got to come to an end to this whole thing, right? I mean, that's been a bit of a problem as well. But the load management thing is just one of the many problems. By the way, they had the least number of people watching a Game 1 finals since 1988. So, that says a lot, right, about what's going on and why the NBA is struggling the way they are. Now, they did get this contract, last year or whatever that kicks in this coming year. But you know what? If I'm ESPN, do I want to figure out a way to get the hell out of this contract? Because if these numbers are going to stay what they are, John, it's really getting pretty pathetic for what's going on there. So I'm just curious, where do you stand on this one? By the way, in that Game 1, that did pop a little bit when Tyrese Halliburton actually shot the last shot. People came just to watch the very end, so it went up from like 8.9 to 11 million people or whatever watching it. But other than that, it's really gotten awful, and it's only going to probably get worse, especially if Oklahoma City plays like they usually do, which is beat people by 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 points. I think it could get ugly if they get to that point.
Yeah, sure could. Obviously, the Pacers winning the first game. Then, of course, in OKC, they came back and won the second game. So, it's 1-1. I'm sure that the league would rather that it goes 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, 3-3, and try to build a little confidence in people deciding, yeah, it's interesting, even though I don't know who the players are, except for Halliburton. Yeah. But I think there's going to be a real struggle, Pete, and we've talked about it. You talked about it 3 years ago with this load management. If you pay what you have to pay for an NBA ticket and the stars aren't out there, they shouldn't get paid. If they're not hurt, they should not get paid. Right. And if Silver doesn't figure that out, then they'll keep doing this, and people will keep saying, I don't even care, because, they want $800 for a ticket, and I'm not going to even see the guys that I want to see. Forget it.
If I'm ESPN, I think I would have a meeting with them right now and start to bring all this up to them and say, hey, look, man, are you ever going to step out of this wussy cake that you are to actually make this actual competition? And these guys actually have to play games as opposed to sitting out whenever the hell they want. I mean, I can't imagine, John, if I lived up in North Dakota, I drive to a Timberwolves game and I get there and the player I wanted to see, maybe it's LeBron James, isn't playing. Am I pretty pissed off? I mean, not only is it a 4 or 5 hour drive from Fargo, But I get there and the guy's not playing. So I'm losing money the whole way. I had played the gas money, number one, because it's a pretty good drive. Then I got to probably stay in a hotel. I got to buy those tickets, even the least expensive tickets. I mean, that's really what we're talking about here. And it's not a very good way to treat your fans, in my opinion. All right. Speaking of treating the fans, how about this? Aaron Rodgers finally decided to sign with the football team in the NFL, not the UFL, the NFL. And it's going to be interesting, John, and I'm curious what you think about this, because we all know Tomlin is a great coach. The one issue that he's had most of his career, he's had quarterbacks here and there, but most of his career, as good as he hasn't had a quarterback. He hasn't had one for a while, that's for sure. So Aaron Rodgers signing with Pittsburgh, I think DK Metcalf was a great signing, and I think that was in prep to try to go out and get Aaron Rodgers, to get a guy who can throw him the ball. As bad as people want to say Aaron played last year, John, I was taking a look at it. What about this?
No, not bad.
He's number 8 in yards. He threw for 3,900 yards, and that actually comes along with the fact that he got sacked 40 times. He was one of the most sacked quarterbacks last year, so he doesn't have a great defense. He's got a good defense. I wouldn't put him in the great category, even though some of their numbers look okay. But, you look at that side of it, and then you look at his offensive line and everything else. I think he's going to be in a much different spot. They have a great defense in Pittsburgh. They always do. He's got a big offensive line. He's got some receivers. He's got a boatload of running backs out there, John. So it's kind of setting up for an Aaron Rodgers kind of an offense, I think, better than it did when it was with the Jets. So 63% completion last year, not so bad. I think there's a lot of reasons why this really does make sense. And it doesn't mean these guys are going into the deep into the playoffs, because let's be honest, they are in a tough division. I mean, you've got teams like Buffalo and Baltimore. I mean, it's not like this is going to be a cakewalk by any stretch, but I think it gives Pittsburgh an opportunity to at least challenge some of these teams as we get into this year. How do you think about this, Aaron? Did he make the right decision?
Yep, absolutely made the right decision. Some people were saying, well, what about New Orleans? No. DK Metcalf, Pete, makes it a no-brainer for him to go there. Now, if DK got hurt, that would be a big, negative, of course, because we're all counting on him, and they traded their troublesome wide receiver that was hugely talented, but troublesome. They got rid of him. Mm-hmm. So DK, that big horse is going to love having Aaron Rodgers deliver him the ball. Mm-hmm. And by the way, I've been watching your quarterback up in Minnesota, JJ McCarthy, and there's a lot of people around the league that say he looks like a young Aaron Rodgers, Pete, because the tight spiral that he throws and the little space, basically like a mailbox that he can put the ball into that space. He looks really, really good. And he might be the guy that has even better receivers, and the combination of his new O-line with those great receivers. I think J.J. McCarthy's going to be lighting it up. But, I'm glad Aaron finally signed, and he needs to get in there and get some reps with DK for sure, Pete.
Yeah, and I'd say one last thing. You're right about J.J. McCarthy. I mean, the kid was great. He's from LaGrange, Illinois. He grew up right where I lived for a long time, John. Great player, IMG, great player, college, great player, and now at the professional level, I think, if you look at this kid's resume, John, it's stunning. I mean, he doesn't lose games. He plays at a high level in almost every game he's ever played in. I mean, he's just that kind of a guy. And he does have a lot of an Aaron Rodgers to him, because he's not a big guy. He's not the 6'5", 235-pound guy, like a lot of those NFL quarterbacks. But he's mobile when he needs to be, and I think he's going to be very careful because of his knee last year. But I think this kid is going to be a superstar in the NFL. I really do. He has some throws that you see on Twitter where you're just watching it going, wow, man, that's a tight spiral this guy throws, and he puts it in the one spot that the receiver can get it. So he's pretty special. I know he hasn't thrown an NFL pass yet, at least not in real season, but he's going to be a monster for the Vikings, I think.
Yep, you're lucky to have him, and thank goodness the surgery went well. Yeah. They got so much better at that meniscus tear surgery that I think he'll be just fine.